As we enter the 6th month of the COVID-19 pandemic, thousands of hate incidents against Asians have been reported across the country. The president still mostly refuses to call the coronavirus when he tweets.
It's not racist at all, no, not at all. It comes from China.
In 2016, 35% of Chinese Americans voted for Trump, the most of any Asian American or Pacific Islander group. But have Trump's remarks changed the minds of the Chinese Americans who voted for him 4 years ago? We talked to Sophie Chow Wang of Monterey Park in the San Gabriel Valley on the last night of the Republican National Convention.
I'm Sophie Chow Wang. I'm the founder and president of the Asian American Republican Women Federated.
And we talked to Chester Chong, who lives in the Westchester neighborhood of Los Angeles, just a few days later.
My name is Chester Chong, and I'm 63 years old, and I working for the Chinese Chamber of Commerce for 32 years.
Sophie and Chester have a lot in common. They are both business people and both Republicans.
I'm one of the founder of a bank, a FDIC approved bank called Golden Security Bank.
I'm a businessman. When I come here, I starting the business. And when we to United States the first day, we already signed for Republican.
But this year, even Republicans with similar backgrounds may be voting differently. Sophie and Chester have both been U.S. citizens for over 30 years, and they are both involved in the local community. Sophie is the former president of the Alhambra Unified School District, and Chester was the president of the Chinese Chamber of Commerce in Los Angeles, Chinatown.
I came from a family of 8 children. My parents were ministers in the Christian work all their life. And we had to leave China because my father was one of the 4 evangelist ministers on the blacklist at that time. So we fled to Hong Kong and then moved to Singapore and immigrated to United States in 1956.
I moved to United States and was about 25 when I was 25. So even my Mandarin is learned from here. I learned in America too. That's why I say I'd be proud American very beginning.
And they both voted for President Trump 4 years ago for similar reasons.
Trump, I did not know him that well before he announced he wanted to run for office. But I knew about him as a real successful businessman. So when he decided to run for president, coming down the escalator, the first thing I saw is I told my husband, I said, I'm going to support him. Because I relate to the hardship that he has being a businessman.
For the past, when I saw Hillary Clinton, when he done what he done, I don't agree that. But on Donald Trump, they don't have any record. They just a businessman. When he come up, I expect or I hope they can change.
In fact, they are good friends. Sophie invited Chester to take this photo with President Trump when he visited LA in 2016. And of course, Sophie took one too. She uses it for all her social media profiles.
Many presidents before won't deal with the issue, the situation in China or Russia or Iran or all this. They were just superficial to me. And so I think Trump in this way will be the greatest president in the history.
But this year, these two friends are making different decisions on who they will support for president.
4 years ago, I choosing the President Donald Trump. But this year, I think I will change. This 4 year, I totally disappointed what he done. This, I believe, is the worst, president in the world, worst president in the history, United States.
Why? They split when a pandemic hit.
With the pandemic, I think Trump has done everything he can with the resources he have at the time. I watched him in January, middle of January, when he closed the travel, and he dealt with it on an everyday basis. he was able to get the corporations, to get the business people starting to make masks and the machine that we needed for the needs of our own country. And he did everything he could to deal with this issue. And this is not he didn't create it. He will be the last one to want this happen. You know why? Because we had the best economy.
In the pandemic, you can see the leadership. It doesn't matter the China virus or any place virus. They say he said that. He tried to put the responsibility to other countries, to the other people. But when you mature, when you know that this is not right, even it doesn't matter from China or somewhere, you have to take care of your country first.
Experts say that the younger, more liberal generation of Chinese Americans reacts more angrily to the president's comments about COVID-19 than the older generation does. And a supporter is less likely to change their mind if they voted for President Trump to pass a certain conservative agenda. AAPI Data's latest survey report this month says Joe Biden is getting the majority of Chinese Americans' votes.
It looks like Trump has not made headway in the Chinese American population. So, so whatever hopes that Chinese American conservatives might have had that having Trump as president, that they would increase their ranks and support among the Chinese American population, it's not panning out.
But some Chinese American voters are steadfast in their support for President Trump.
Washington has not changed Donald Trump. Donald Trump has changed Washington.
I will be voting for him. It's such an honor to cast my vote, and I will be voting by person because all my life I've voted at the voting booth on the election day because I feel that is my job being an American citizen, and that I need to do that for my country.